And we are live once again. And I am super excited because we have Aleks back on. And the master of the stars, Aleks. And some of you may remember Aleks when we did part 1, and just how amazing all her information about astrology and the planets and the stars and what it means to us was. And we need to get her back on because I hear there's a Mercury retrograde coming up, Aleks.
You know, you better find something convenient to hide under.
Well,
a rock, a bomb shelter, something like that.
Yeah, quick, everybody. But hopefully we're here to dispel some of the myths around this time. So welcome, Aleks. Thank you so much for coming on to the show. And if you would like to just give us a little bit of intro about yourself, that would be amazing.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you know, I currently live in Toronto. I was born and raised here. And I started studying astrology when I was about 5 or 6 years old. It's pretty much how I learned how to read. You know, I skipped a lot of the kids' book. I went through the adult books. But astrology has been a lifelong passion of mine, you know, and it's something that I really got to pursue once I started my training with the Modern Mystery School. And so everything that I've learned there has actually taken my astrology to a deeper level, you know, to greater awareness and understanding, but also to greater practice too. And so, you know, my love for astrology is now over 30 years old. So
I was just saying to Aleks before, obviously people know me by now, and they always know I like a little chat before before we do the interview. And I was saying that, you know, as I am not one of those people that retains all of that type of information, even though I find it incredibly interesting and fascinating. I thought, oh yes, oh that's what it is. And then for some reason I don't retain it. But you have all of this wealth of knowledge, and it's just phenomenal. And like you say, it's a deep passion of over 30 years, and you know, we're so glad that we're able to just kind of pick your brains a little bit here, and you know, obviously we don't have so much time, but you know, there is so much we can delve into. So hopefully we're going to see you regularly, so we can keep across what's going on in the world. So Aleks, tell us now, Mercury retrograde. Everybody that I know always seems to have a little bit of a panic when this is coming up, or indeed they will say to me things like, oh, I'm not going to sign any paperwork, or I'm not going to look for a job, or I'm not going to use my computer, or whatever it is, for this amount of time. And I've always thought, like, I'm not sure I really want to live my life that way, because you know, I want to be in control. So I love that you explain it. So would you mind just explaining what it is first of all?
Yeah, of course. You know, it's kind of funny because somebody asked me yesterday, you know, when did Mercury retrograde become such like a thing to be feared? You know, and it was a really good question. So I'm actually determined to get to the center of that answer because I want to know now. It really sparked some curiosity. But Mercury retrograde. So first of all, what retrograde means is that it's a time where the planets appear to move backwards through the sky. Now in reality, it's actually an illusion because the planets are always cycling in the same direction, right? They're constantly going in the same direction. But because, you know, the elliptical of the Earth, right, the Earth's path is not the same size as that of the other planets, right, which would be bad, we would, you know, collide, right? But because it's not the same size, every once in a while, the planets appear to move backwards due to the relative position of the Earth and the other planet in question, right? And so when Mercury is retrograde, he appears to be going backwards through the sky. Now, you know, when it comes to astrology, one of the things that is kind of a misconception is that the stars govern over us. And this actually isn't true. We have a relationship with them. We have a relationship with the zodiac signs. We have a relationship with the planets. We have a relationship with the fixed stars and other celestial bodies. And so this myth or concept that the stars and the planets rule over us simply isn't true. And in our spiritual development and progression, we have a chance to kind of reverse the roles, right? So when Mercury is retrograde, I always tell people, Mercury is like one of our teachers. And he's our communication studies teacher. You know, he's our English teacher, right? And since Mercury governs over the mind and communication, you know, he also deals with business and wheeling and dealing and that kind of thing. So when he goes retrograde, it's kind of like the teacher says, okay, lesson over, quiz, pop quiz. And whatever sign he is retrograde in is basically the lesson or rather the quiz that we're going to be taking during that time. Right. So when Mercury is in normal motion, he's always helping us. He's kind of got our back end, making sure that even when we have faults in our communication and our thinking and that kind of thing, he's still kind of supporting us. Right. But the minute he goes retrograde, he says, okay, show me what you can do now. And if you can't do much, then Mercury retrograde is a scary thing.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, it's the teacher. Right now, it's your turn. OMG, how much have I studied? How much have I been paying attention? And how much am I willing to actually try and do X, Y, or Z? You know, is the key. And I guess so. Why do people, you know, with the communication, then he's governing the communication. So why do so many people have issues with, you know, their laptops and technology and such like? Is that the correlation? How does that work?
Well, that's part of it, because Mercury governs over, you know, communication systems, whether that is us personally, or whether that is, you know, things like the internet, our computers and phones and that kind of thing. Right. But it's not just that. Mercury is also a highly adaptable planet, because the truth is, retrograde or not, those things break down anyways. And so one of the key lessons of Mercury retrograde, no matter what sign he's in, is adaptability. What are you going to do when obstacles are presented in your way? How can you keep sight of the goal and reorient yourself around whatever obstacles you find in your way to get there? Right. And so, you know, like I said, you know, it's kind of like it's a testing period. Right. And if you have that ability to adapt or to anticipate, you know, or if you really know what you're doing in all the areas of your life, if you know what you're doing with your business, if you know what you're doing with your finances, you know, if you know what you're doing when you communicate, then you'll navigate ways around that, you know, and then those retrogrades serve to keep you alert and discerning.
So then, you know, as we were talking, you know, earlier about our training in the mystery school, and we've kind of talked about this before. So this is where our training really comes in. So, you know, for us, we're trained in the lineage of King Solomon. It's Hermetic, and we then have practical tools that we apply to navigate or to help us maneuver or sort these issues out. So therefore, an initiate would be less likely to be controlled by Mercury retrograde. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely. You know, now, do we all have moments where we kind of succumb to it here and there? Yes, but we also have a better chance of working our way out of it too. Right. And so by using our tools, and just a little FYI here, Mercury is the god of ritual magic, right? So in using our ritual magic and in using our energetic tools, we have ways to shift ourselves, right? And the other piece of it is that a lot of these tools are constantly taking our perspective, our clarity, our discernment to another level, which is what Mercury retrograde is actually all about anyways. right, is really fostering that awareness, to a higher degree. And so our rituals and our healings, that's what all of them seek to do anyways.
And I love that, and that's so key, isn't it? So actually sitting in your like hermit. I mean, I'm nothing against everybody sitting in a cave and meditating and everything if that's what you want to do, but every time, if that's your kind of aim when Mercury retrograde comes around, then you're kind of doing yourself a disservice. You're not allowing yourself to progress in a way, I guess.
Well, absolutely. And so when we go into that hiding, it's kind of like not facing a chance to improve, right? And so by doing that, you're totally right. We do ourselves a disservice, from the perspective that we miss out on a chance.
Yeah, we want to grab those opportunities, and it's like, recently been talking about this, and how being in that uncomfortable zone is where the magic happens. And the retrograde is almost serving us by giving us that uncomfortable zone on a platter, so we get we get to actually create magic. We get to create that beautiful magic in our lives.
Absolutely. I was talking to someone recently, and I asked them, how do you know what your capabilities are? And they were thinking about it. And the thing is, you don't know what your capabilities are unless you experiment. And so this is your experimentation time. As human beings, we get so attached to doing things the right way, right? And along comes Mercury retrograde, where it's so easy to get it wrong, right? But at the same time, it's really important that you actually engage it, that you take the bull by its horns, so to speak, and you do get into your communication, and you do become more knowledgeable, more organized, more efficient about the things that you have flowing in your life. And when you get more hands-on during Mercury retrograde, you remember and carry through those lessons to a better degree. If you stay hiding under the rock, it doesn't do anything.
Yeah. And that's what we're here to do, isn't it? That's what we're here to do, is live life, experience, experiment, mess up if you need to,
Don't be attached. Shoot, nobody is going to go through this life 100% perfect.
Well, us on this call, Aleks.
There is no flawless execution to this life.
No. So tell us what. So there's a retrograde coming up now, isn't there? Would you mind telling us about that and what we can expect, and how we can grow and progress in this time?
Absolutely. So this coming retrograde, it starts January 30th for those of you who are marking your hiding time in the calendar. So it's January 30th to February 20th. And Mercury will be retrograde in the sign of Aquarius. And so, interestingly, this retrograde is about discernment. If I was to boil it down into one word, discernment and getting the facts straight. Because, we've recently gone through a whole lot of misinformation out there, right? And Aquarius is a factual, scientific sign. And so, this is a time where, of all the information that you've been receiving and all of the information that you've bought into, you can now start to figure out, whoa, what's actually factual here? What is reality based? And what is coming from emotions? And have my emotions been manipulated in order to believe something? Right, to buy into something, to propagate something, to share it with others, right? And so this is a time of kind of cleaning up house also about, what do you trust when it comes to information? Who or what do you accept without question? because we all have information sources that we accept without question. I mean, number one, right up here. Whatever the brain says, we tend to automatically believe without question. And a lot of times it's wrong. Right? But aside from this, right, who or what is it that you believe without question? And what are the implications of not being discerning? You know, what are you following? And what does it also mean for the people in your life when you follow information that you haven't verified, right? Because Aquarius is very much a sign of service and care for others. And so what you know and believe has an impact on your relationships. It has an impact on your conduct, and that has effects for both yourself and for the people around you. And so this is your time to discern and to get to the heart of everything that you've been following, so that you can have clarity about what's serving you and serving the people around you.
My goodness, I mean, could this come at any more of a perfect time, really? Because, well, in the UK and I think around the world, one hot topic, I guess, is the vaccine. And what information have we been receiving? I know there's a lot of groups that, don't want to perhaps take the vaccine. There's a lot of groups that do want to take the vaccine. So, and all through, what they've actually believed as to be correct information. And this is just one example of the big shifts and changes that are happening now. So we've got the vaccine. We've also got the political situation that's in the US. That's, a lot of things coming out around about that, and different variants. And my goodness, it's really fascinating how this has come at this time.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, and this retrograde is actually it coincides with the first Saturn-Uranus square. So for those of you who were at the forecast, at the beginning of January, I talked about this Saturn-Uranus square and how it's a time of conflict, a conflict of traditional versus experimental information, right? But also frustrations arising out of a difference of opinion, because you could look at it as the traditional versus the alternative, right? The alternative perspective. And the fact that Saturn is in a progressive sign, right? Saturn is in Aquarius right now, but Uranus is in a conservative sign, Taurus. And so this kind of muddies up the water, even more, right? And so as we're in this time of these tensions and conflicts that are arising out of opinion, and we're in a time where it's kind of dangerous, where opinion can become fact. And nobody has intended this, but opinion can become fact, and simply by repetition. And it's not the first time that this has happened in history, nor will it be the last. But we want to make sure that we are getting to truth.
Absolutely. And there's a beautiful article actually that was written on the Modern Mystery School INT site about how you can discern what is fake news and what is not, etc. And it's a lovely article. So if you haven't had a chance to read that, it's a really great one. And what emotions is it evoking? What's coming up? What is triggering you to actually do something, opposed to am I listening to it from a balanced perspective? And of course, this is what's is coming up for us to master, I guess, in a way.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is something that has to be cleared out. I talked about this year and how it is about building the bridge, and how the fabric of humanity has been torn at. And we have to learn how to get along despite differences of opinion. But we also have to discern when there is manipulation happening, so that we don't fall prey to the propaganda that is feeding the conflict to begin with. And so Mercury retrograde can be a prime time for us to really get to the heart of that and how it's affecting us.
So Aleks, how are we going to prepare for this? What would you say is the best preparation? Can we prepare, or do we just kind of have to do white knuckle ride?
Well, you know what? First of all, for any retrograde, I'm going to be honest with you, meditation always helps. Getting yourself to that place of calm, right? Because Mercury is the Lord of the mind, right? And during retrograde, it's not uncommon, if we have a weakness of the mind, if we overthink or if we accept things without challenging them, he will amp that up a little bit for us and say, hey, pay attention, you've been doing this all along, right? And so meditation is one of the best tools that there is, hands down, to start taking control of your mind again, right? Because when you learn how to dissociate from your thoughts, that actually gives you the chance to challenge them. Because when your thoughts are like right up here in your face, there is no dissociation, and so you never really get that chance to go, whoa, the content of this is unhealthy, right? So to be honest with you, number one tool, meditation.
And I was going to say, yeah, fantastic. And just to mention, whilst we're on that, we have lots of free meditations happening all over the world. If you're unsure how to do that, you can go onto the INT site, the UK site, the Brazilian site. There's lots of different ways to access free meditation from the Modern Mystery School right now, which is phenomenal.
Absolutely. A lot of initiates have been offering that as a service, just to help people maintain their mental health, while times are tough, right? And so it's something that they have available to share. So I do encourage people to partake of it, right? And for those of you who are in areas where you are allowed to get healing work done, I would strongly encourage receiving the Hermetic rebalancing. It is an amazing modality that helps clear away, the debris that accumulates in the mind that prevents clarity and discernment. And so that's an amazing session. And if you don't have, if you're not able to receive sessions because you're in a lockdown, like in the UK and here in Toronto, just hold tight and bear with it, and keep your own meditation and ritual practice up. And where you need help, never forget that there are always energies that are willing to step in. So yes, you might be going through retrograde, and you know what? Yes, you may have lost your glasses, but there's always things you can do. There's always energies and beings that you can call upon that will help you find them again.
Oh my goodness, I'm forever grateful for those tools, believe me.
Absolutely, and sometimes you realize that they were right on top of your head the whole time.
Of course. Of course. So we're going to, practice by being calm, meditation, and, if we can get the Hermetic rebalancing, that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
So we're working up and to prepare. Should we be avoiding anything at this time, or are we going gung-ho into everything? Just to allay anybody's, oh, should I not do this or should I do that in this time?
Well, this is where you have to start trusting your own intuition, right? Yeah, sometimes there are things to avoid, but would I say that you avoid them because of Mercury retrograde? No. Would I say that if maybe you look at a situation and something seems off about it, well, trust your discernment there, right? And trust your intuition. And so, if you're going to avoid something, avoid it because you know something's not quite right. Don't avoid it because it's Mercury retrograde, right? Because the same circumstances could occur any other time that's not Mercury retrograde, and you would still feel that need to avoid it, and so trust those sensations. If you're about to sign on to buy a new car, but you get the sensation, hold on, I think there's a better deal coming next month. Hold off, wait, see what's coming for you. right? Why not? You know, if it's coming from that place of higher connection to self, you know, deeper intuitive connection, then follow that, because ultimately that's what Mercury is about. He is about the merging of intelligence and intuition.
I love that. I love that. I mean, I just so wish that everybody can watch this, you know, so that they understand, because people are missing out so much, you know, and they're just missing out on all of the beautiful gifts that this time can give us, and just throwing ourselves into the experience. And my goodness, we can get so much out of it. I mean, I am intending to throw myself into this, even though I'm in lockdown. I feel sure there's going to be many opportunities, Aleks, even on lockdown.
Oh, absolutely. You know, like I said, it affects our communication. It affects even the way our mind works. So not only our communication with others, but our communication with self. Right. And as I mentioned, it is a time of discernment. And whether you can roam about on the streets or not, we all need discernment.
We do. We do. We do. Oh, well, I'm excited. I hope everybody else is excited here. You know, I mean, I mean, you know, that could be a whole new, you know, thing that we've just started off there, Aleks, like excitement that retrograde's coming. Well, I don't know.
Retrograde parties?
Woo, woo.
Yeah, when lockdown's over.
Virtual parties, virtual parties.
Yeah, virtual parties.
Yeah. We are almost out of time. I cannot believe it. I feel like we're just, you know, we only just started chatting.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you would like to finish off with? Anything that you want to share with us that, you know, in preparation or just in general about this time?
You know, like I said earlier, the stars are not our masters, nor are we their slaves, right? And so you have a relationship with Mercury. Why? Because you can communicate, you can think, you can do business, right? And so, you know, embrace that relationship and become mindful of it during this time. And that's how you make the most of it. You know, it might be a little bit like learning to ride a bike, and that's okay. You know, yeah, maybe you take it slow during retrograde, but don't miss out.
You heard it here. Don't miss out. And we're going to have a whole new slogan on retrogrades, you know, now from now on. Thank you, Aleks. Now, I know I've mentioned this before, but Aleks does amazing readings and such like. I know she's very busy, but I do know she might be taking on a few more clients here and there. So email her, contact her. We're going to put the details in the chat box so that you can get in touch with her if you would like your charts doing, or know when her next classes are on, or find out, you know, if you're in Toronto and you might want to go and be initiated by her if you haven't been initiated. Go. And I read out a few of the comments that we've had. I've been checking all the way through, and we've had the article, thank you, put up there about the fake news. That's amazing. Thank you, beautiful beings, retrograde parties. Somebody's excited for the opportunities, and thank you for your wisdom and energy, queens, and learning experiences. So we've had lots of people watching, and I feel sure this is going to be a very popular video too, that will be viewed again and again, and I'm going to watch it again just to make sure I'm fully prepared. So thank you so much, Aleks, and goodbye, everybody. Happy retrograde. Hope to hear